whenever you go through any kind of failure or you fail to meet an expectation, what goes on in your mind? Do you find yourself constantly blaming yourself for things that went wrong? Well, it's one thing to feel bad or to feel guilty about things that didn't work out in your favor, but it's something else entirely when you start blaming yourself. And when you start blaming yourself, you're putting your self-esteem in jeopardy. So if you want to turn things around for yourself, then instead of blaming yourself, take responsibility. Now, I guess you're probably wondering, what's the difference between taking responsibility and then blaming myself? Okay, here's the difference. When you take full responsibility for your own life, that means that you put yourself in a more of a powerful position to make things better. So if you think about what went wrong and how can I fix it, all right, you're taking responsibility for yourself. You're not blaming yourself. Now, when you take responsibility, that means that you think long and hard and you think about how you can improve yourself or how you can improve any situation. Now, when somebody blames other people, when somebody blames somebody else, what they do is they put responsibility in somebody else's hands. So that takes power away from them. So the problem doesn't get solved in their own life because they're blaming somebody else for things that they did. So if it's things they did and they put responsibility in somebody else's hands, that's blaming somebody else. So again, the problem doesn't get solved. Now, self-blame comes into play when you're constantly putting yourself down. All right, it's the same thing as blaming somebody else, pretty much. But the main thing is when you self-blame, the problem doesn't get solved because you're constantly putting yourself down. You're reminding yourself, you're letting your inner critical subconscious voice convince you that you're a foolish person for doing this. It's all my fault. It's all my fault, and you might as well live with it. You got nobody to blame but yourself. So all these negative voices in their head and their subconscious mind just keeps replaying itself over and over and over again until eventually they're going to start to question their self-worth. They start questioning their self-worth, then they're heading towards a dead-end road towards depression. All right, so take responsibility for yourself. That means putting yourself in a powerful position to figure out how to improve things, how to make it right. Now, another thing you want to do also whenever you face an adversity is that you got to put a stop to that inner critical voice in your subconscious mind. Now, you're not going to get rid of the voice altogether, but you can at least stop it in its tracks. So that way you have yourself enough time to replace those inner negative voices with more encouraging self-talk. So for instance, when things didn't go your favor, you failed at something, and your voice is telling you over and over again, you should have known better, you'll never get out of this, I told you so, and it keeps replaying itself over and over again, then stop that voice. Replace it with encouraging self-talk. When you give yourself encouraging self-talk, you want to remind yourself that you did do the best you could for what you knew at that time. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, nobody can tell the future. Nobody can tell the future. So even if you had any kind of indication whatsoever before you made whatever choice that you made, then you still had another belief that said, if I make this choice, then I know I'm going to gain something. I believe I'm going to gain something. Well, you made the choice and you lost. But that don't mean you should just put yourself down because of it. You did the best you could for what you knew at the time. So remind yourself of that. And remind yourself also that I have the power to turn things around for myself. I can improve these things. See, if you start giving yourself this self-talk, encouraging self-talk, and you focus long and hard on how you can solve the problem, whatever failures that you came across, then you have no choice but to improve from that point. All right, so this I'm gonna leave for you for this evening. I do put out content on a weekly basis, so if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and by all means, please subscribe, because again, I do put out content on a weekly basis. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time around.